Okay, so tonight I had planned to talk about BOD groups, and then if you watched the National Wake Up Call this week, it was all about BOD groups, and it was amazing. So I'm still going to hit on a few things that I wanted to say, even though, but because I'm also recording this, so this will be for other people too. But I would also highly suggest going back and listening to that. What was the date on Monday? In case people watch this someday. Um, so it was December 14th, 2020. It was so good. Did you listen to it, Emily? Yeah, some of it. Yeah. I mean, it was long, but like, I don't know. I guess I won't go into what they said, but definitely listen to that for so many different benefits, even just for using the app for BOD groups. It actually encouraged me a little bit because ever since we switched from the My Challenge tracker to the BOD groups, I felt like we just lost people and energy. And so, but they made a lot of good points that we just got to keep going, and we'll build that back up. And I think we have a little bit, but anyway. So, I mean, everyone should know what a BOD group is because you should be in at least mine. But if you don't know, that's like our challenge group in our Beachbody On Demand app. And for those of you who are newer, they just opened this platform. Was it in May, April or May? I forget, this spring. And so I think it's still being developed. I don't even know if everything's fully launched in it yet, but there's definitely a lot more new features than it was at the beginning. But anyways, the point of why they switched, because we did have a different app for tracking our workouts and having our group, they switched it because people, it was like they needed everything all in one place. So, and it is great. So we can go to the app for our workouts, we can go to the app for our group, we can go to the app to track our workouts, our shakes, our measurements, all of that stuff. And it was a hard transition for those of us that did it, but for people just coming in, like that's all they know. And I think it's great because it's only one place to remember. And one point that they made that I really liked was that you don't have to rely on social media to run your group. And a lot of people don't want to be on social media for that group. A lot of people get lost on social media and never see the group stuff anyways. So this is just, they check in, they know it's there. But what I really want to talk about is about either administering or co-running a group together or running your own group. And I kind of want to say it like from my own experience and how I started. So I'm kind of just going to share about that and how much it helped me. So of course we had a different one, and I actually started I think I did 1 month with my coach, and I just knew myself that I was super shy. And I knew that if I had something that I could stay quiet in and not have to be the leader, then I would, and I would get comfortable, and then I would never get out. And so I think that dear girl that thought that, sometimes I think that, I'm like, how did I know? Like, how was I that? Like, I don't know. But for whatever reason, I knew in my heart that I could not stay under my uplines group, or I would just be complacent and not feel like I would have to do anything. And I also felt like I would never break free of my own. And now it doesn't make anybody a better or worse leader if they choose to stay. I just knew that if I stayed, like, I wouldn't be a good like helper or participant also. So it was more of that, like there are a lot of great leaders that lead together in the groups. So it's not about that necessarily. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can tell me. But anyway, so I chose to make my own group. And when I first started, for about 6 months or so, I actually ran a free group. And it was on Facebook at the time. I think we did the challenge tracker app and Facebook, if I remember. I don't even remember how I ran it now. So free groups could be a whole nother topic on this call, really. But basically the point of a free group is just adding value and adding anybody. So at the time, I was still sending invites, but I was inviting people to my free like health community. And we were all doing different workouts, like anywhere, whatever you had. And then we were still like, I was still putting motivational posts and going, I don't remember if I went live very much, but anyways, but the point was to build trust and to build relationships with people and ultimately be able to invite those people to Beachbody, and give them a taste of like what our real group would be like. So I don't run free groups currently anymore. It's just kind of one of those like optional things. Some people like highly believe in it. So I'm sure just go back and forth with what season even you're in or whatever. But what happened was it gave me this, not even about free groups, but just running my own group, I should say that. It gave me, it kind of built confidence in me in what I was doing. And I made it very clear to everybody. I said I was a newbie for like 6 or 8 months, like well past when I was a newbie. I kept using that word so that people would have grace with me. And I think that's totally fine. But they did. And I just like, we're going to keep it really low key. Like there's no high expectations. I'm just going to pop in when I have something on my mind, that kind of thing. It didn't have to be anything fancy. And believe me, it wasn't. And so, but what happened was that the more that I ran that group, the more confident I became in like my message and what I was doing, and even just like posting my own selfies and, you know, and like helping other people in there and answering questions and whatever. So running your own group, again, whether it's a free group or a BOD group where they actually have to buy a challenge pack to get in, even if you feel like you don't know what to say or you don't know what to post, or you think, you know, like whatever, you think you won't be good at it, usually who are the people that start with you anyways? It's usually like your close friends and family who already know that you're new. Like they probably have zero expectations from you because, you know, like they don't know what you're doing and they're just starting with you, whatever. So if you do that right away and start, you will grow into like that leader that you need to be down the road whenever you have 50 people, 100 people, whatever. And so I just found that I am really thankful that I did that, because I know that if I hadn't, I wouldn't have learned. And that's just really how you learn, is by doing it, not by like watching lots of videos and studying and you know, whatever. So anyways, it really built a lot of confidence in me. And then what was I going to say? I don't remember what I was going to say. But the other thing that I found is that I am so much more consistent because I am like the leader, like I'm the coach in that group. And I don't know if they expect me to show up every day or not, but I sure am going to, because I want to be a good, you know, a good example for them. And so I found that it's literally my own accountability. Like, be selfish, run your own group so that it helps you on your own health journey. And that's fine. Like, that's like the whole point of it. And when Beachbody first started, so I actually got to sit next to the very first coach ever on the airplane when I was flying to Florida for the cruise a couple years ago. And she told me like this whole thing about how Beachbody got started. Like, she's like an older lady now. It was so cool though. Like, I wish I could have been like taking notes. But kind of the point of it was that they were only offering the workouts, you know, like videos and stuff. And people were not even finishing the programs. And like they really wanted to help people more than just making the sale from the programs. They were like, why are people not finishing it? Like, what's the missing link? And kind of bottom line was they don't have support, accountability. and that community of people to help them keep going, because we always do good when we start, right? And then whatever happens and we fall off and life happens, and there's nobody there to notice. So that's kind of how like challenge groups even started, and that's how they developed the coaching thing. Like the whole story is really cool, but I can't tell it like she did. But I just thought that was so neat. And like, so the BOD group, like that is where the magic will happen, you know, if we're running it successfully. And I have to admit, like I go up and down with like enjoying it, and the energy will get low, and then I get discouraged. Like that stuff will happen too. Um, but ultimately, like I said, it's going to help you for your own accountability. Because if you are if you are the main leader or one of the main leaders, like you're gonna want to show up to be that example for whoever else is in there. And of course it doesn't mean you have to be totally perfect and never skip a day and all of that. Like I've definitely not done that, but I have found that the more into this I am, as this is my job says I have to go work out. And that's not a bad thing, you know? And so I don't even think about it anymore. Like I just do my workout. That's part of my day, you know? And so the more into that, and then the group as well, you know, like that is just, that's part of our job. So it also helps if we're always running one. And like if you heard the call on Monday, there's obviously all different, some people keep it going. Like we've kind of had an ongoing one going for the last couple months, and then sometimes we'll do a new one like for the new launch, or you know, a special program or something like that. Every coach has different ways that work better for them. But having it in place, no matter if it has a start date or if it's ongoing, it is something for you to invite to. And it is so much easier to invite when you have that group. And of course, like I said, like we can be co-leading that group. And if you're really, you know, like really putting the effort into it, it's no different than, well, I mean, it's a little different than being on your own, but it gives you that thing. If you're not running a group at all or helping with one, like what are you inviting to? Because that is literally our job. Our job starts after the sale of the challenge pack, and then we are there to be their coach and to encourage them and support them and help them. What are you doing? Go. Thank you. So something to invite to: accountability for your own health, building confidence with what you're saying, like with talking, with posting, with like helping people, answering their questions. Like seriously, all of that stuff I've learned from running the group because it's just a natural thing. And then the last thing that I kind of had here was they joined you. So if they joined you and then you pop them, say, into my group, and of course I'm not saying that anyone does this, but just in general, if you were to pop them into your uplines group and then you're not showing up at all, like what does that say to them, you know? And then they could be confused, like, who's my coach? I don't even understand where I'm at, you know? So they want you to be their leader because they joined you or they were following you, not me, you know, not each other, not somebody else. And so that's something to build your, like that should give you a lot of confidence that you want to be there for them. And I just also am a firm believer of like sticking to my word and staying, you know, if they committed to a year, like, and I think I said that recently, like I do not give up on them for that whole year, even if they never reply to me that entire year. That's my job and that is what I will do. So there is one more thing that I want to say. That's kind of all I wanted to say about BODgroups since Monday's call was so good. And I just suggest going to that rather than me saying a lot of it. But the other thing is that as you gain challengers, I feel like you guys already know this, but in case people don't, we want to be checking in on them at like in part of our, whether that's part of your power hour later in the day or whatever, whenever you do it, you want to be checking in on those challengers and coaches, customers, coaches. And I don't think there's any like magic trick to like what to say. I'm sure every coach does it differently. Like I honestly, a lot of times just say, how's it going? And because some people just say good, you, which drives me nuts because I'm like, I need the information. But some people will open up, whether it's about their work, their workouts and they fell off or whatever, or some people will say something about their life. And I care about both sides of it. And so if something's more important in their life right now, I don't want to always just say like, are you getting your workout in? Are you getting your workout in every time? Like sometimes I will, depending on the person and like how long it's been since we've talked or something like that. But just make sure, and you can kind of set a pace with that. I used to do every week, I would get every challenger in. But obviously as your list grows, that takes up a lot more time, and I don't think that's necessary. That's kind of why I started doing emails, just to like try to stay connected in a way like I'm still showing up. So as you grow, you can develop a different system for that. But especially in the beginning, like be so close to those few people that started, because like I always use, Emily's always here, but she was one of my early people, and a lot of those early people are still around. And I really believe it's because like I just had like a lot more extra time to really build a relationship with those people. And I don't check on them as much anymore. Like sometimes I feel guilty about it, but I have to like not worry about that, because I mean, I have to have a life too. But I also know that they're there, and a lot of them are showing up in the group and doing stuff like that. So it's like I see them, so it's not like we just like never ever talk. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. Okay. So this is like weird segue, but it was just on my mind, and it's a little late now. This would have been a really good topic for like December 1st or even the end of November, but I'm still going to bring it up. And then next year I'll like be more organized. But I just kind of want to briefly talk about how, I have to read her chat. Are you going? Never annoying. That is so distracting to me though. How do you make it go away? Oh, okay. I got it. So, okay, the other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is looking ahead in the month. And I know it was last week that we literally talked about getting a calendar, writing out like when challenge group starts and when new launches happen, and writing down the wake up call and things like that on the calendar. So honestly, this would have gone better with that, but whatever. I was just thinking about it. But it is something that I never used to do, that now I'm like finally starting to grasp this like idea of planning ahead. and there really is, because a lot of months, like, okay, school happens in September. So there's, we know that, like, we know there's Thanksgiving in, oh my word, in November. I was going to say January. I'm so tired. Okay. And then Christmas in December. But what I was thinking was, especially with those bigger holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, basically like the couple days before, even before the holiday, and like the eve of it, especially Christmas, it's like Christmas Eve, Christmas, the day after Christmas, basically a lot of that week, not necessarily, but it kind of is like silent, or, like it's shot for working. And now that being said, like I will probably still sit down and work a little bit, like the day after Christmas and maybe Christmas Eve, I don't know. And I have had people sign up on Christmas Eve. So it's not something to just like write off. So don't take it this way. But I'm just saying more like, and like I said, this is a little late now for a warning, but when we look ahead, like we want to look at the whole month and plan out, like we want to go all in. If we know that we have like those at least 2 or 3 days where everyone's not really going to be on social media, they're going to be with their family, they're going to be busy, they're going to be cooking, whatever. It's just kind of a no-brainer that no one's going to really like, unless they reach out to us, it's not really a good time to be really trying to like do our power hour and stuff. However, or we have this launch on this weekend. I already told my husband, I said, I will be working Sunday. I don't work Sundays usually. I will probably work a little bit on Saturday because we have a launch, you know? And so looking ahead like that and being aware of that, okay, you know, I may have to make a few sacrifices on Sunday, or, you know, or send a whole bunch of extra invites to make up for this day or whatever. Like it's a really simple concept, but it's something that I never did before. And all of a sudden I would be like, oh my goodness, like, you know, what do I do? No one's going to sign up. It's Christmas. And I wasn't prepared because I didn't put in the work like the few weeks before it or the month before it. And then that also kind of goes along with like everything we're doing now is going to set you up for like the next usually 3 to 6 months. So the more that you put in, and I've said this before, I don't know who was here, but like I've seen it happen. Like for instance, we went home to Missouri in July, and I took a full week like off because I had no cell service. And then even the week before that, I just did maintenance stuff, and I was like, it'll be fine. Like I've been working so hard this year. And that's okay. Like we do have to find time to rest and stuff. But August was really slow because I had just stopped. And even the flow of new people coming into your page and stuff. So you do have to take breaks, but like also be aware of like, it might not affect you this month or next month. Like if you slow down, whatever, it's going to affect, like it's going to come. And the vice versa. Like if you're pouring your heart out this month and you don't hit the goals that you want, keep going, because you will in a couple months, because it just takes that time. And I've seen it so many times in myself. So just trust that. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to say. So I was just talking about planning around the holidays, planning around seasons, like it's all kind of the same thing. Just even the weekends, I've been noticing, it might be different for your followers, but I've even noticed, because I used to work on Saturdays too, and like I feel like nobody's there on Saturday. So I have found that if I just do a little more during the week, and I can take Saturday off because no one's answering anyways. So you can kind of, figure that out for your own audience also. But so what I said was, figuring out when engagement is higher or lower, which would be a lot of times like the weekend or Sundays or whatever time. Even try to be aware of that during the day. So, I mean, sometimes there were seasons where I think I was sending messages and people would look at it, but it was like they were at work, so then they never replied, and then they forgot that it was there. Sometimes you have to be aware of that, but I guess I don't really feel like it's so much of an issue anymore, so I don't know. But sometimes if you feel like nothing's happening, no one's responding, you could definitely take a look at some of that stuff and tweak it. I feel like I had one more thing to say. I don't know. Okay, so that's all I have. I'm gonna stop this.